What's going on? Let's discuss Dr. Umar Johnson and the all-black boys school that has yet to come to fruition. And let's also discuss the black conscious community and the black community as a whole. Now, disclaimer, I don't know everything. Some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. I don't claim to have all the answers. I will share some of my opinions and try to play devil's advocate. Or I don't even call it being a devil's advocate. It's just called looking at multiple sides of the perspectives instead of just going with one side, because there's so many ways of looking at topics and issues and problems, and there's so many different ways to come up with solutions to solve those issues and problems, which is the purpose of Psych Perspectives, is just to really research and examine and try to look at as much as we can before we come up with all these damn conclusions. Okay? So anyways, Dr. Umar Johnson. I first heard of Dr. Umar Johnson in 2011. And at that time, it was about him, being a psychologist, and his work that he was doing around black kids, particularly black boys, and how they were being targeted in the public education school system, in the education system in general, where, you have these black boys who are being suspended for certain types of behavior, or misdiagnosed or overdiagnosed for ADHD, behavior issues, bad attitudes, which was causing them to either be held back in their grades, or suspensions and unnecessary disciplinary actions held against them, and was really interfering with black kids, particularly black boys, education and their learning and their upbringing. And as a black person who went to inner city schools in a public education system, and also went to suburban schools in a public education system, and just my own lived experiences, I could see this for myself as a black person who was suspended multiple times, first, second, third grade, poor choices, in-class suspension, detention, because, I had ADHD and I was a hyperactive kid and I was running around, but I also had a lot of personal problems and issues that I was dealing with at home, which also how children cope or deal with trauma and abuse. We may act out, children may act out a certain way, right? So I totally get that. Like, we need to be there to support children and teach children and young people. But we also need to make sure that it's fair and equitable, and we're not just suspending kids and kicking kids out for things that we shouldn't be doing that, right? So I was like, yes, I get where Dr. Umar is coming from. Like, we do need to have an African-centered based education system, school for black children. But his vision was it was going to be for black boys only. And he was going to raise funds for this school to come to fruition. Again, I heard about this in 2011. It's 2019. It's been 8 years, 2011. And some people heard about his school and Dr. Umar and his ideas and his school before 2011. So I don't know exactly how long this has been going on. I will have some articles and links in the description box below so you can do some research or look at it if you choose to. But there was a lot of discrepancies, okay? Because here we are in 2019, and guess what? This school has not been purchased. People have not been hired to staff and run the school. Curriculum hasn't been taught or even, created for the school. Yet there has been damn near $1 million raised, crowdfunded, donated for this school to exist. And the money was sent directly to Dr. Umar Johnson on his websites, on the GoFundMes. All the crowdfunding websites and opportunities were used to raise almost $1 million. And here we are 8 years or however years later, and people are trying to figure out, where is this school? Which brings me, because I'm going to get to Dr. Umar, but let's talk about everything. Psych Perspectives. First of all, okay, this is the problem with the black conscious community in a nutshell, in the black community in a nutshell. And which is why I left. I used to be very deeply involved in the black conscious community. particularly on social media and YouTube, and making videos and discussing issues and problems and coming up with solutions and Pan-Africanism. But on YouTube, anyways, from 2011 to 2014, 2015, those 3 to 4 years, I was on here making video after video after video, talking about race relations, classism, education, culture, history, solutions, problems, gossip, but it was pertaining to the Black conscious community and the Black community. And that's what I was doing. And while I was doing that, at that time, that's when my YouTube was blowing up. Like, especially between 2011 and 2013, my channel was blowing up. I was getting thousands of views, getting subscribers left and right, hundreds of comments. I mean, I was going in. But at the same time, that's also when I was getting flagged. My videos were being flagged, copyright. I was having my account suspended for 2-3 weeks, you know, or they would flag it, and like, if you get 3 flags, you will lose your channel. I literally lost my first YouTube channel because of Black conscious YouTube. Okay, and I had to create other channels, and I ended up creating like 4 or 5 other channels, because I kept getting, my videos kept getting flagged, or banned, or taken down, or suspended. So I would keep coming up with backup accounts. That way, if I lost this channel, hey, check me out on this channel. I'll be talking over here, subscribe over here. And it was just a lot of drama, because it would be other Black people or white folks or people who didn't agree or whatever, who would just send people to flag your channel or flag a video, leaving rude comments, just all crazy, you know, thumbs down in your video, just all kinds of crazy stuff that was really unnecessary, especially when you are assuming that we are all grown-ups, we are all adults, we are all of age, and we should be able to carry ourselves in a certain manner without all of this petty, childish shit, but whatever. So I ended up stopping making videos about topics like this, because I was like, I'm tired of my videos being flagged and channels being deleted and banned, and there's so many other things that I can talk about as well, or I want to talk about too, right? Because you can do both, right? But anyways, so moving forward. Now I got more and more involved in the real world, in the physical world, fighting for social justice, equity, liberation, whatever you want to call it. 2013 through 2018, that was my life. I was a field organizer, community organizer, going to protests, going to marches and rallies, sit-ins, demonstrations. I was in the field, actually physically doing the work, you know, in the state of Michigan, right? Detroit, Pontiac, Saginaw, Benton Harbor. I was all over the place doing the work. Lansing, Ann Arbor, Detroit. I was all over doing the work. Here we are in 2019, I stopped doing that, because just like YouTube, just like the social internet aspect of this, the physical is just as bad, if not worse. And then don't think about combining the both. Oh my Lord, you are going to see some crazy shit. And it's gonna physically and mentally exhaust you and drain you. And let's not even talk about the financial burdens that comes with this shit. So that'll be a whole nother video, because I want to get to the point. What I'm just seeing with this conscious community, again, it just seems like all we be doing is having talking points. Everybody has talking points, and it's a bunch of talking heads. Rather you're Dr. Umar Johnson, rather you're Hassan Campbell, Sonetta, you know, Brother Polite, rather you're Sean King, you know, I mean, it's a bunch of talking heads, you know, Tommy Sotomayor, whoever it may be, it's a bunch of talking heads. And some people, you know, are very left leaning, some people are very right leaning, some people are very centered, you know, some people go back and forth, you know, on their ideologies, but ultimately it's a bunch of talking heads, you know. Brother Holipsum, Mr. Holipsum, he talks about this all the time. And, you know, it's like talking points after talking points. And really, when you look at the last 100 years, that's with Black people and the Black conscious community has been doing. You know, you had the Garveyites, you had everybody, you had the people that was rocking with Garvey, Marcus Garvey. You had people rocking with, Muhammad, and the Nation of Islam. You had people rocking with the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party. And, you got the militants. You got the Pan-Africanists. You got the we need to go back to Africa people. You got the very spiritual, holistic, we need to smoke weed and pay attention to our vibes and energy people. You got all kinds of different perspectives and viewpoints and ideologies and principles and beliefs in the Black community, in the Black conscious community. I mean, quite frankly, the ideas and the talking points are extremely diverse. They're diverse, but they're not inclusive of each other. Like, you get where I'm going with this, okay? They're diverse, there's plenty of them, but they're not inclusive of each other, okay? Which is why I always laugh when I hear Black people or Black conscious folks talk about the liberation for Black people and Black bodies, because oftentimes all I really see is a white supremacist framework being pushed by Black people and Black bodies. And what I mean by that is, y'all be having the same homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, sexist, classist, ableist ideologies and principles as white supremacists, as the white supremacy structure and framework. The only difference is it's a Black person pushing this toxic bullshit. That's the only difference, which is why, when people want to talk about the Black liberation, I'm like, exactly who are you liberating? Because to me, it's a very selective and very exclusive liberation movement, because y'all only want certain Black people to be a part of the liberation. You only want to save certain Black people. You're not really liberating Black folks. Because when you talk about Black people, you're literally talking about everybody in the African diaspora. Y'all clearly do not want to liberate everybody in the African diaspora. Okay, y'all have made that clear by the homophobic, transphobic, classist, sexist, misogynistic shit that comes out of some of these talking heads and these ideologies and perspectives. Y'all have made that clear. Okay? Come back to Dr. Umar in the school. Made it clear that the school and his focus was going to be on Black boys. Okay? Which is weird to me, because again, if we're about the liberation, Black people and Black bodies, why are you only including half of the population? What about the girls? What about the women? What about the females? You would think we want everybody to be educated at this school, to receive this information, this structure, this support, this nourishment, this love, this energy, but that ain't the case. 8 years later, we sitting up here, almost $1 million has been raised, but there's been no school. There's not even really any true updates or budget plans or anything to follow the progress of this school in the goal. So back to Holipsum, because he says this all the time. What is your end game? Because oftentimes there is no end game. It's just a bunch of damn talking points. And don't get me wrong, we need to talk. We need to have these conversations. We need to be able to express, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, our opinions, whether we agree or disagree. There needs to be discussions on community, on culture, on race, on religion, on sexuality, on education, on economics, on community, on everything. Whether it's a debate or an open dialogue or people just spewing what they need out. We need that. We need to talk about the problems and the issues, but we also need to talk about the solutions to the problems and the answers to the questions. We need that. I agree. You shouldn't only be talking. You can be talking and doing. There can be another component to this. That should not be the only step. And like I said earlier, for the past 100 years, it just seems like the talking is the only step that the Black conscious community or the Black community has been doing. And it's the same shit every year, every decade, every generation. It's a new group of people borrowing from the previous generations to come up with their so-called new version of the same damn talking point. Okay? So often do these talking points ever lead to any damn progress or lead to anything actually being done, right? You know, going back to Garvey, he was going to have this luxury cruise liner that was going to take Black Americans or people who were in America, the USA, back to Africa. Remember that? That turned out. It was okay, and then it faded the hell out and didn't go as planned. Nation of Islam, same situation. Some of y'all find that while y'all are incarcerated. Some of y'all come out and y'all changed and you this, that, and the other. But again, that message doesn't work for every Black person or Black body. And again, what are their talking points? At the Black Panther, we got to be strong and militant and know our rights, but we also have to be self-producing, self-supporting, right? You know, we have to be sustaining as well. Again, all these different ideologies and perspectives, but mind you, diverse as hell. They're not inclusive of each other. Because you got a lot of Garvey folks interested in the damn Nation of Islam. You got a lot of Nation of Islam folks who can get with the Black Panthers on the militancy, but then on other things, they clash. And mind you, we're not supposed to always be in sync and agree with everything. But we, as the Black community, the Black race, and the Black conscious community, we spend way too much time clashing instead of looking past differences and looking at what we can agree on so we can move forward. But anyways, neither here nor there, right? Got all this shit going on. No school, no nothing. And then we got the YouTube beef and the YouTube commentators and the YouTube war. You know, everybody is making, like when I look at YouTube and the Black conscious community right now, everybody is making videos talking about Dr. Umar Johnson, John Campbell. Years later, we sitting up here, almost $1 million has been raised, but there's been no school. There's not even really any true updates or budget plans or anything to follow the progress of this school in the goal. So back to holistic. You know what? I'm actually going to make this into part 2 because I was going to include the other part, but it's already over 18 minutes over there. So part 2, when I look at the Black conscious community, all I really see is a discussion on Dr. Umar Johnson and Hassan Campbell, right? Okay? Those are the 2 most top people I hear people making videos about in the YouTube beef, in the YouTube Black community, the YouTube Black conscious, whatever you want to call it. Which is no different than previous years, right? Because in previous years, it was Tariq Nasheed and Tommy Sotomayor and whoever else is, you know, a talking head on YouTube. And notice I'm not naming that many Black women because really, you don't see that many Black women YouTubers talking about the Black conscious community. And then if they are, they're not the ones making all these videos bashing each other. They're not the ones sending subscribers to flag a person video or channel or ban or report or leave bad or horrible comments, which is funny because you always hear this conversation that, well, you're acting like a bitch and that's what females do. But really, that's that misogyny and that sexism because there is no such thing as acting like a bitch. At the end of the day, and it's not a female trait, it's not a feminine trait because niggas are often the ones making the videos, bitching and moaning about another nigga. So miss me with the feminine traits. No, that's just what y'all do. Y'all just don't y'all wanna continue to have a very closed-minded framework. Y'all want to, you know, operate within white supremacist framework, right? Y'all want to use white supremacist frameworks and white supremacist tools of oppressing, so y'all continue that misogyny and sexism instead of just owning up the fact that yes, men as well as women can do a lot of petty catty shit, okay? But since we getting deep into this and I'm like, get my weed going, right? Let me get it going. Here's to get into it. Anyways, video after video of people either agreeing or disagreeing or questioning what the hell is going on with Dr. Umar Johnson and his school, Hassan Campbell and the molestation allegations, and Africa Bambaataa. That's what I see when I look at the Black conscious community on YouTube. Again, notice they all have to keep coming up with different channels and shit. Everybody got to have different channels because everybody's channels is being flagged banned, suspended. You know, you got Dr. Umar Johnson, who's, you know, he's doing seminars to raise money. He's got people donating. Hassan Campbell got people donating. But mind you, at the end of the day, the key term here is donation. So with that being said, nobody is forcing you to take money and give to them. Nobody's got a gun to your head. You're doing this on your own free will. So a lot of y'all sitting up complaining about why the school hasn't been built yet, or I haven't received any updates on the school, or whatever. Those are valid, like site perspectives. Those are valid questions, and I feel your pain, and I feel your wanting to know part. But I also can sit back, site perspectives, look at the other side. Like, well, I don't really owe you shit. You the one that gave me your money. You gave me your money. I didn't tell you that you had to give me your money. I didn't force you to give me your money. You did this on your own free will. Brings me to my next point. There are a lot of scammers, and people will use your weakness and your ignorance and your own stupidity against you. And again, when you look at the black community, the black race, my opinion, as a whole, we are a very gullible group of people. Like, you could sell, when it comes to black folks, it's like selling salt to a slug, okay? You know, salt causes slugs to shrivel up and dry up and die. That's kind of how the black race is, in my opinion. Like, you can tell us whatever, we gonna go with it. We gonna ride till the wheels fall off with it, regardless if it's actually helping us, if it's actually progressing us. You know, it could be killing us. It could be destroying our communities and literally murdering out entire generations, but we gonna still ride with it because we are some gullible ass people. Because there's no way in hell over 100 years of the same damn niggas and the same types of people preaching this whatever ideology perspective. Like, damn, it's been 100 years, nigga, and we in the same situation. We still having the same problems, and we don't have no solutions to these problems. We don't have no answers to these questions. I mean, and I'm just talking about 1919 to 2019. I'm not even talking about people, what we was doing before 1919, what we was doing in the early 20th century, what we was doing in the 1800s. I ain't even talking about them other years. I'm just talking about this 100-year time span, and it's the same shit. Okay? The Malcolm X versus Dr. King. Again, the same shit. Everybody got all these perspectives and ideologies and beliefs and what the fuck ever. Very diverse, but not inclusive of each other, which is why I'm like, again, y'all are not concerned about no black liberation. Let me go farther. Y'all not concerned with no black liberation. Y'all are concerned with power and control. You simply want to be the oppressor. That's what it is. You're tired of being the subject, the subjugated, the subject. You're tired of being the slave, the oppressed, okay, the marginalized. You want to be the oppressor. You want to be the one running everything. You want to be the one oppressing others and controlling others. That's what it all boils down to, especially when you look at these damn talking heads. Not everybody is like this, but let's be real. There's a big ass group. It seems like most of the people that we see, heard of, are like this. And what I mean by site perspectives, what I mean by is, y'all just want to feed y'all ego. Y'all not really concerned about helping nobody. Because what has happened, especially with social media has allowed the wrong type of people to have a platform. Literally, because nowadays, any and everybody can become a social media guru, you know, an activist, a content creator, a so-called influencer. But just because they have that title doesn't mean that they are using it for good reasons, for good faith, for good purpose. Motherfuckers get on here and it is wolves and sheep's clothing. But again, in my opinion, the black community, the black race, very gullible. We some gullible people. Because there's no way in hell, again, this has been happening to us for centuries now. You would think somewhere around the line, somebody would have been like, listen, I'm tired of this shit. This happened last month. This happened 10 years ago. This happened 100 years ago. You would think we would be learning how to avoid this shit, but no, we still having talking points and debates and no progress and no action and no implementation of shit. But instead, everybody on YouTube would on a soapbox. And it's ego. It's just ego rubbing. And then these are some narcissistic assholes too, because everything is about me. But that's white supremacy in a nutshell. You know, they center everything around their wants and their needs. They don't care who they abuse, who they kill, who they destroy in the process, as long as they get in what they want and what they need. And that's the conscious community in a nutshell. That's society in a nutshell. Again, when y'all want to get off of when y'all want to leave toxic ideologies and perceptions alone, and you want to unlearn that shit and learn about some new shit that can actually help you, we can possibly move from just talking about shit to doing shit. But until then, it's gonna be another Umar Johnson, another whoever. You're gonna be complaining about somebody else in a couple of months. You're gonna be donating money to another cause in a couple of months. It's gonna be another topic, you already know. No, and back to what Mr. Holipsum, Brother Holipsum always says, and mind you, I know you're gonna think like, well, shit, you up his ass. I mean, I agree with a lot of his points. I'm not gonna lie, I agree with a lot of his points. The link to his stuff in the description box below. But I agree to a lot of his points. I'm not gonna lie on that. End of the day, it is what it is. Because unfortunately, this is very cynical in the circles. What goes around comes around. Shit just keeps coming and going. And like I said, every damn year, every generation, somebody, yeah. And in the meantime, ain't shit getting done. Black folks still being discriminated against and harassed. Still losing their lives in black. Still being denied opportunities for being black. Can't get a job, can't get money, poverty, health issues, mental issues, social issues, economic issues. Same shit, different year. And that's my point. We've been on these talking points, but ain't been to no damn progression. I'm just looking from 1919 to 2000. The same issues that niggas was having in 1919 are the same issues that niggas is having in 2019. The same issues that niggas had in 1969 are the same issues that niggas have in 2019. So again, and that's 100 years, but I broke it in 50th century wit. And you still talking about the same shit. So that's why, me personally, I left the black conscious community a long time ago. And I get tired of all these damn labels, because at the end of the day, they're just labels. You could have this label or this title, that doesn't mean that that's actually what you truly believe in or that you truly work towards. So that, this is part 2. I might do a part 3 later, but this is a part 2. Now let me smart this up again. At the end of the day, I personally don't know if that school is ever going to come to fruition. I don't know if any of y'all are ever going to get refunds on your money. I don't know. Hell, I don't even know if y'all going to be able to write these donations on. Like, did y'all even write the donations off on your taxes? I don't know. You know, I don't know if y'all going to, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But judging by history and by track record, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get your money back. Ain't no school. No telling where that money went. Telling what his next plan is, or who next is coming in line. Sorry. Again, in my opinion, black people as a race are gullible as fuck. We are so gullible. This is what's hilarious to me about us. You know, I think this is people of color in general, not just black folks, but people of color in general. We are so gullible and open. The play on words. I said this is people of color in general. Remember that. Perspectives. I said this was people of color in general. Remember that. Play on words. The color, so open. When it comes to your own, you middle fingering it all day. You don't give a damn. Others, you will let come in, colonize, invade, torture, control, oppress. Other, you're not going to be inclusive of each other. You're not going to support each other. You're not going to unite. You ain't going to do shit. But others, they come in a minute. They have no problem with switching to their ideologies and their belief systems. Oh, expect us with that one. Think about what I just said. Anyways, part 3.